Hey gang, Maverick here. Just want to share something with you, an interesting story, something for you to look into, okay? Heard a story about a friend or someone I know of who years ago bought a condo on the beach. And, I don't know how many years they paid on it, paid on the mortgage, but after a period of time, their mortgage was bundled up with some other mortgages as the banks did, years ago, and sold that mortgage to another company we'll call Bank B. Something happened in the process where the buyer didn't know how much the payments were supposed to be or who to send them to, I think was the issue or whatever. And anyway, and I don't know all the details there, but basically the Bank B ended up in court trying to get their money. And then the judge asked for Bank B to produce the contract. And apparently the Bank B could not produce a contract, and so the judge ruled against Bank B and in favor of the buyer, and basically threw out the case and told the buyer, hey, enjoy your condo. You don't have to make any more payments. Now you see, if you're a typical American who's trying to be honest and want to pay your debts, you would, like him, feel uncomfortable, like, I owe this money. Well, here's what went down, and I can tell you, even though I wasn't there and I don't know all the details, because this happens way more often than what we ever hear. This isn't the kind of thing that the American people are told about, but the judges know the score, okay? It's basically contract law. Here's the deal. You buy a house, you enter a mortgage, you sign a contract and agree to make payments. If Bank A, that you got your mortgage with, at some point in time decides to sell off that mortgage, then guess what? They get the money, they mark it paid in full, the debt is discharged, and it's gone from Bank A. Bank B then contacts you and says, you need to send us these payments. Well, the problem is you don't have a contract with Bank B. The bigger problem is your debt is paid, okay? Now you might think, well, Bank B paid money for that, I need to pay Bank B. No, you don't. Because if it's already off the books on Bank A, it's paid in full or discharged or whatever. Now, the underlying reality is you don't owe that money in the first place, but that's a whole nother story, okay? But there's no contract with Bank B, and this is what the judge was ruling on. He was requiring Bank B to produce what's called a wet ink contract. That's the original contract. And they could not do that because the buyer never signed a contract with this company. He didn't even know who they were. It's like this. If I walked up to you and said, you owe me $10,000, if you didn't just call me crazy and walk away and you start asking questions, you'd say, why do I owe you $10,000? I don't even know you. Well, if I said, well, look, here's a copy of a contract you signed. You financed this car and for $10,000 and you owe me $10,000. Well, you would look at that and say, A, this doesn't have your name on it, this contract. And so that would be obvious, okay? But you would see your signature down there. But the thing is, that's not your original signature. But even if I was able to produce the original contract, it's not between you and I. It's between you and whoever you finance your car with, you see. And particularly if that debt's paid off, why would you pay me money? Why would you agree to pay me payments every month? Somebody you don't even know, you have no contract with, you never agreed to anything, you didn't sign anything. That sounds stupid, doesn't it? Well, that's really what's going on. But see, the problem is when we don't know that, we can be taken advantage of. But the judge knows. And a good judge will rule in favor of the creditor or the owner. So that's what happened in this court case, see. And to this day, this man will never have to make a payment on that condo, unless, of course, he refinances or something like that. But, it's his. And Bank B has no claim because they have no contract. And it doesn't matter what it is. If you do not enter into a contract with somebody, then you're not obligated. That's just simple law. It's the same with bill collectors. If you owe money on a debt and the company you owe it to sells it to a bill collector, and then the bill collector calls you and says, we're trying to collect this debt, you don't owe them the debt. You owe the debt to the original people. And if they've discharged it, written it off, whatever, you don't owe it. So the key there is to say, well, send me a copy of the contract and I'll take a look at it. You'll never get the contract. They'll just call you and badger you. But they don't have a contract with you, and you don't owe them nothing. And, you know, the terms of the first contract have been met, because one of the stipulations down the contract is essentially basically when it's paid in full or discharged. And so you agree to that. You probably don't realize that, but when you agree to make payments, you also agree to the part of the contract that says, you know, if this debt is paid off by some other means, because it's the same thing happens when you refinance. Okay, that debt is paid off by some other means. So you agree that when this debt is absolved or discharged or paid off or written off, you don't owe it. So keep that in mind, okay, and do some due diligence. And one place you can find a lot of information is from a website called Solutions in Commerce. I think it's .com, it may be .org, but anyway, it's all about how commerce works. It's by a man named Winston Shroud, who has helped people with these issues over and over and over and over, because he understands contract law. So it would behoove you to understand it as well, to learn, to research, do your due diligence, and not be taken advantage of. It's not about getting a free house or free condo, but it's certainly about not paying money that you don't owe, okay? So I hope this helps you. God bless. Have a good day.